Hey guys, welcome back to this discussion on SQL Server. I was talking about SQL joins in my last video, where I have discussed about the inner join and the left join. As I discussed in my last video, join is a very crucial part of SQL learning. In a day-to-day work with SQL Server, we have to work with various data which are resided in the various tables in the different parts of the database. To access those data, we use the concept of join, where the universal law of join states that to join two tables, there should be at least one column of similar data type available in both the table. Keeping that in mind, I have showed you how we can work with inner join and left join. In this session, I'm going to discuss about the other categories of join. To start with, let's start with right join. A right join is a type of join where all the table data from the right table is extracted and the data that matches the matching criteria from both the tables are extracted along with all the data from the right table. And data which doesn't match the matching criteria will always be showed up as null value in a table. To visualize this kind of join, let me take you to the paint software where I want to show you it visually as how right join works, and then we will work on the query part where I'll perform a query to perform a right join between two tables. So we have say over here that there are two tables over here. Now what happens in right join? All the data from the right table along with the data which matches in both the table as per the matching criteria gets extracted. So this is how we can visually visualize a right join. Now if I go back to my SQL Server Management Studio and I want to perform a right join, then I'll take a table where I'll be working with employee and the gender table to perform this right join. Now, as I said, the employee and the gender table has a column which is similar in both the table. So if I write a query over here, select star from employee, and again, if I repeat this query and this time I mention a gender table and I copy and execute it, I select and execute it. So you can see there will be two output coming up. One will show the details of the employee table and the other one will show the details of the gender table. Now in both the table we can see there's one column, gender column, which is similar, which is available in both the table. So over here we can see that on the basis of this gender column we can perform a join operations. So let's perform a right join. And as per the definition of right join, all the data from the right table and the data which matches the matching criteria from both the table will be extracted. So let me write a small query over here as select from employee table, employees table as EMP, performing a right join on gender table as GEN on Zen dot gender equals to emp dot gender. Now over here, Zen and emp are the alias name which is been given to the table like employees and gender. Now that I have performed the join operation, the output of this join operation will be extracting all the rows from the right table and the matching rows in terms of the matching criteria. Now what I can do, I can write the column names over here, gender, and you can see the moment I've written a column name, I'm getting an ambiguous error because the SQL Server Management Studio, this query editor, is unable to recognize this gender as from which table this gender belongs to. So we have to specify the table name, and we can do that by specifying the alias name that we are given to each of the table. And then again, I can write gender, gen dot gender name, and let me give the first name from the and last name and the EMP number. And now if I execute this particular query, I can see that I've got the gender column. Okay, let me take the gender name. And you can see I've got the gender name, first name, last name, and employee number. So as a result of this right join, all the data from the right table has been extracted and the data which matches the matching criteria. And over here, the matching criteria is gender. On the basis of the gender column, which is of similar data type in both the table, the data has been extracted. The next topic that I'm going to talk about is a full join. Now, what is a full join? A full join is a type of join where all the data from both the tables will be extracted on the basis of the matching criteria. So let us see how we can perform a full join. So let's first understand the full join visually. If I open my Paint application, we have seen the inner join where only the matching data will be extracted. We have seen the left join where all the data from the left table along with the matching data will be extracted. We have seen the right join where all the data from the right table along with the matching data will be extracted. Now we'll see the full join where all the data from the left table, the right table will be extracted along with the matching data. A word of caution, full join will always return a very big result. Another thing that I want to highlight over here is a full join is also known as full outer join in SQL. Now let us see how we can perform a full join in SQL Server. Now I take a new query, and for this example, I'm going to work on the current personnel table and the geography table. Now, this current personnel table under HR database consists of all the employees who are currently active in the organization. They are currently working in the organization. And the geography table contains the demographic details of all the people who are a part of this particular organization. Now, if I write a query to understand what kind of data this tables contains, we can write select star from current personnel table. And if I execute it, you will find the details of the SID employee, employee number, current salary, current location, along with the department ID, location ID, and position ID. And now if I check the geography table, and if I select it, you can see this particular geography table contains the location ID, city, state, provinces, postal code, country, region, name. Now what I want to perform a full outer join where I want to extract the data from the current personnel table along with the geography table. And I want to perform it through full join. So I'll write select from, let me give the table name. So I'll write current personnel table as CP, performing a full join on the geography table as geo on. Now let us understand the common column. So in both the table, we have an SID location column, which is of similar data type. We have seen in the current personnel table and in the geography table that we have a similar column that is SID location. So on the basis of that particular column, I'll perform the full join operation where I'll take geo dot SID location. And now let us select the columns. I'll write EMP number, comma. Let me take the, so what I can take over here from, let me take the city from the current personal table and let me take the country region name from the geography table. And now if I execute this particular query, I can see that I have all the employee numbers and the city and the country from which that particular city is belong. Now what if I want to sort the employee number? And now if I execute this particular query, now the moment I have done a sorting, I can see some of the employee numbers are showing me a null value. That means the current personnel table is having some employees who doesn't have an employee ID, and that is a matter of concern. Because if a person is currently working in an organization, the person should have an employee ID. So there's a problem with this particular data which needs to be updated to the HR, and they need to look in this particular matter, because a person who is working in an organization without an employee ID must be having some issue with the Either this particular table has not been updated or there is an issue that is going on in this particular organization which needs to be highlighted. So this is how we can work with the concept of full join in SQL Server. Now let's work on another scenario where I want to talk about implementing some advanced join features. For example, if I want to apply multiple joins on multiple tables, for example, I want to perform an inner join on three multiple tables. Now for this, let me take a new query, and I have three tables over here: the employee, the manager, and the salary history. Now this employee table can be considered as a master table which consists of all the employees who are currently in the organization and also who has already left the organization. The manager table can be considered as a table where the roles and responsibilities and the details for the managers in the organization are being stored. And the third table is the salary history table. Now, this particular table consists of all the salary history of the employees in an organization. Now, when I say salary history, every employee in any organization goes through a process where the salary is increased from the previous amount of salary that is given to the employee. So this particular table keeps a track on the salary history for each of the employees. Now, let us see how I can perform a join on these three tables. Now, till now I was working on a join operation which was being performed between two tables. Now let's see how we perform a join when there is more than two tables in the requirement. So for this, I'll write a very simple query where I'll write select from. Now let's perform the join operation first. I'll take the employee table and I'll give an alias as emp. I'll perform an inner join on the manager table with alias name mgr on emp dot. I'll take SID employee as a common column in all the three tables because SID employee is a column which is available in all the three tables and are of similar data type, equals to mgr dot SID employee from the manager table. Again, I'll perform an inner join, and this time I'll take the salary history table and I'll name it as SLR, and I'll perform an inner join on the employee table emp dot SID employee equals to SLR dot SID employee. And now it's time to select the columns. So in terms of columns from the employee table, I'll select the employee number, the first name, last name. Now we can see over here, we can see an ambiguous. That means the employee number is available in more than two tables. So I'll write emp.employee. And from the manager table, I'll select the position and from date. And from the salary history table, I'll select salary history, salary from date, and sal to date. What I can do, you can see the current salary option, and let me denote it with the salary SLR. Now we can see that I have used three tables over here and I have performed an inner join on more than two tables. Now I have also selected the respective columns from all the three tables. Now it's time to execute this particular query and see what output we can get. Now in terms of the rules of the inner join, I have seen that I have extracted the employee number, first name, last name from the employee table, position and from date from the manager table, and current salary, salary from date, salary to date from the salary history table. Now this is how we can see that how we can perform a advanced level of join operations where we have involved tables, more than two tables in the query level execution. So this is how we can see that how we can perform our advanced level join operations. What if I want to perform multiple join types with multiple tables? Over here, the scenario was that I have performed a similar join type. So I perform an inner join in more than 3 tables. What if I want to perform multiple join types with multiple tables? Let us see how we can do that. Now the scenario over here is that I have 3 tables. First, the employee table, second, the employee location table, and the geography table. Now, there is a scenario, there is a situation in the organization where I want to verify that what information that is stored in the employee location. Now, this employee location table is the table which consists of all the information about the employees working in the organization. And this geography table is the master table, where it consists of all the details of the employees, which is there in the organization, or also which are people who have left the organization. Now there is a situation where I want to verify that the employee location table, the details supplied by the employees, is the information is matching with the geography table or not. So the scenario is that I want to verify that the location, which is the information that is available in terms of the postal code in employee location table, is that postal code correct by comparing it to the geographical code. And I will extract the employee number and the employee details from the employee table. So there will be 3 tables: the employee table, employee location table, and the geography table for this scenario, where I'll be applying multiple join type, the inner join and the left join, to verify the information stored in the location table with the information stored in the geography table. For this, I'll take a new query and I'll start writing the join operation. So I'll write select from, and the first table is employee, which will be alias as EMP, and I'll perform a inner join with the employee location table, which I can name it as employee log, and I'll perform a inner join on the basis of SID employee equals to EMP log dot SID employee, performing a left join on the geography table, which is aliased as geo, and I'll perform a left join with the geography table, considering the table as. So what we have to do, we have to perform a left join as on the employee location table along with the geography table, because we are verifying the employee location table along with the geography table. Now if I open this geography table over here, and if I check the columns of both the table, I can see in both the table the postal code column is of similar data type. So let's use this particular column for this particular join. So I'll write employee log dot postal code equals to, because I have to give a on operation or on keyword over here, equals to geo dot postal code. So what I have done, I have performed multiple join types by considering the employee location table, and the geography table. And in both the join type, I have taken a different criteria in terms of the column name. So we can see over here that the employee location and the geography table has been joined, and left join has been performed on the basis of the postal code. And now let's select the columns from the respective tables. Now the first column I will select is the employee number. I can select the first name, last name. I have to select the postal code and the postal code. Now the problem is that postal code column is available in both geography and the employee location table. So we have to use the alias name over here as employee log dot postal code and geo dot as postal code. And also I have to specify the EMP name dot over here. Now what I want to show the postal code selected from the employee location table as local code and the postal code selected from the geography table as global code. And now if I execute this particular query, you can see that I have got two columns over here where I can see that the information like employee number, first name, last name from the employee table, the local code from the employee location table, and the global code from the geography table. And now if I can see the local code and the global code are same in both the table. That means the information supplied by the employee is matching with the master table over here. Now you can see over here for this particular employee 2859 there is a null value in the global code column. That means the information supplied by the employee, that is the postal code 2444, is not matching with the master value. So there's a problem with this particular piece of employee, this particular employee who might have supplied either a wrong information or the master table was not been updated properly with the concerned postal code. So this is how we can use multiple join types with tables where we are working more than two tables. We have seen how we have applied the inner join and the left join within the same query, and we was able to work on a scenario where we were comparing the local code with the global code. The next scenario that I'm going to work is to perform a join within the same table. Yes, it sounds interesting, right? How we can perform a join within the same table. Now, performing a join within a same table, in SQL terms, we call it as a self join. Let us work on a scenario to understand this particular type of join. I'll take a new query, and for this particular example, I'll be using the employee manager tree. So let us see what is this employee manager tree table contains. I'll select star from. Let me name the schema over here, and let me take the table name, and if I execute this query, this particular table consists of interesting information. We can see there are three columns over here: the SID employee, the SID manager, and the full name. Now each employee has a manager, and each manager has an employee ID because the manager is also a part of the organization. So for employee 1, the manager ID is 1000 and the manager name is Georgie. Now, what I want to know the names of all the employees along with the ID and also the manager name along with their ID. So the output of this particular self join will be 4 rows consisting of the employee ID, employee name, manager ID, manager name. Now, how we can perform this kind of, how we can extract this kind of information from a same table? We can do this with the help of a self join. Now, if you can see in this particular table, each employee has a manager and each manager has an employee ID. Now, if I come to this SID manager 1000, his name is CFO. If I want to know the manager of this particular ID, so I have to come down and I can see manager ID 1000, which is also an employee ID, doesn't have a SID manager ID because this particular person, Axel, is the CEO of the head of the company. So he doesn't have an ID over here. So he doesn't reports to anyone, right? So let us understand how we can get the employee name and the manager name from this particular table data using a self join. So let us write a query for this. So I'll write select from management dot employee manager tree, and let me give as alias name as emp1. I'll perform an inner join. Again, I'll mention the table name management dot employee manager tree dot emp2 on. I'll perform emp1 dot sid employee because in this table the matching criteria will be SID employee and SID manager, because these two column contains the similar data type, equals to emp2 dot SID manager. And now let's select the column names which I want to extract from this particular data or table. So what I can do, I can write emp1 dot SID employee, comma, emp1 dot full name, emp1 I'll write and I'll select the SID manager, and emp2 I'll select the full name of the manager. And now if I execute this particular query, I have got the SID employee and the full name of the employee, and the SID manager and the full name of the manager. So this is how we can perform our self join within the same table. And we can work on this kind of scenarios where we need to relate the IDs in terms of multiple position available in the table. Now, this was all about joins and advanced joins that I want to discuss in this particular video. I hope you have enjoyed this particular video. Thank you for watching this video, guys.